Hey everybody, wanted to do a quick little video on um, getting into the automotive field and be working as a professional. There's a lot of things you can do to get that level. And I wanted to start off by sharing, of course, like we've always done. And really, you know, I don't want you to get scared of this, but there is going to be a kind of what I call a honeymoon time when you get a new job. We've talked about uh, getting into the job market. Now I want to talk a little bit about uh, getting into the job. There's going to be a time that's going to be a little unfamiliar with you, but you just keep at it and you're going to work into it. Now, starting a new job, always a little bit rough. You feel like all eyes on you and like that. And yes, they are, because there's a period of time that they are actually evaluating you to see if you're going to fit into the mix. And if you act professional, this is going to help you out. And I also want to talk a little bit about, being a mentor or getting into the mentorship, or getting a mentor, and then being like a trainee. And then, of course, the evaluation part. Now, there's, different types of evaluations, from formal evaluations and formal evaluations, which we'll cover in just a minute here. So professionalism, of course, you want to practice consistency. You want to be always consistent. One of the big things that I would look at as a manager when I was at USC and other shops I've worked at, I always looked at, are they on time? Do they come back late from breaks, late from lunch? Are they do they wait? Do they jettison out as soon as the time is up? Grab that time clock sheet and then boom, I'm out of here, like that. Of course, you have your own life and stuff like that, but you have to be consistent on your work ethics too. You want to keep your word on things. If you say, yeah, I'll have this done by a certain time, you want to keep that. But if there's something that comes up, because things always can come up, is keep communication going with your team leader, or your mentor, or also, or your boss, whichever way you work, like that. And you want to start building up your technical expertise, and that's from going to school, going to seminars, going to the different training sessions that you might have availability to. And then you want to become a teammate with your coworkers. You want to work as a team. You don't want to have that friction going on there. There's always a little bit of incompatibility, but you want to make that as easy flowing as possible, because the whole goal is to get the cars out and make sure the customer is taken care of. That's the whole goal, because that's how we make money, is we take care of our customer concerns and needs to actually make that money and stuff like that. And you want to be accountable, like I said a little bit earlier. You want to be accountable to even in your mistakes. You want to say, yeah, I messed up, but I think I know what I did, or I know what I did. And then you will actually before become better in the team. The boss is going to look at you better. You don't want to say, no, it wasn't me, it was Joe over there that did it. And if Joe hadn't done this, I wouldn't have done that. And so, hell, Joe showed me how to do it that way. You don't want to really put the blame on people, but of course, if they really are being pain and interfering with your work, you definitely want to talk to your boss about it, but not always pointing fingers and stuff like that. But and having a good ethics about it. You want to be there are and luckily like I said, it's changed for quite a bit. But it used to be mechanics were looked at, technicians were looked at something in the bottom class, but we really have progressed through the years. There are, and there unfortunately will be people that will try to take advantage of people that don't know about cars. And they will say, oh, you need X, Y, and Z. Instead of explaining it to them, hey, this is what is really what you need right now. And we can put this off and be really realistic about it because it's their property and it's their car, and you want to take respect for that, and be respectful of that too. So being very professional is going to help you out in the field too. And some of the things that you really need to think about is communication. And communication with your boss, communication with your teammates. You've got to be an active, what they call an active listener, not just butting in. You want to listen to if you have that responsibility to talk to the customers. You want to listen to their concerns. Okay, if you're not and you're going through a service writer or through your boss, you want to listen to them and get as much information as possible. And there, again, it comes down to communication, having good verbal skills and stuff like that. And one of the things I would do when I was talking to customers, I would look at their non-verbal communication. So if they come in and their day is already stressed out, and they have that stance, doesn't mean that they're mad at you, or they might be mad at the car, but you're there and sometimes they'll just blow up. Don't take it personal like that. And you want to kind of diffuse it a little bit and say, hey, we'll take care of the car, and I'll call you in a little bit. I'll let you know what's going on and help them get out of there as soon as possible. Sometimes that helps them, kind of go, I got one task off my list. Now I can go and take care of the rest of the life. When you're talking on a phone, and one of the things you got to do is be really, really professional on your talking. When you get a phone call, always have a pen and paper ahead. I always used to keep a little tablet in my pocket and then a little pen. So even when I was out with the customer, I could write little notes telling them. Usually I had an estimate with me to help go through and mark all things down. But sometimes they just want to talk to you, and you can write down little notes as you go along. So again, you have to have good writing skills. You have to be able to read your own writing too, and be able to read too. Reading technical service information, how to, little procedures on how to do repairs too. And you can see a smile on this guy's face right now. You want to have a good talking voice on the phone too. If and it really is true. If you're smiling on the other end and you're happy, it kind of, if there's something going on, that really gets that a communication between you and the customer to be a little less stressful, and they're more than apt to actually come in and see your shop like that. Because a lot of what you'll get is, could I get an estimate on X, Y, and Z? And unfortunately, what I would say, yeah, you know what, it could be in the ballpark of, but anytime you do that, they expect it to be that number. So you tell them it's going to be $50, and then they bring in the car, then it's got a lot more work to it. And you tell them, no, I'm sorry, it's going to be $150. Then they're upset because you just got through saying $50. I had an occasion where my boss brought in a car, and he quoted a starter replacement with the starter for something like $150. And he hadn't even looked at the car. And he said, Marty, I got an easy one for you over here. Why don't you go ahead and pull it in and slap the starter in here. I got the starter in stock. Just go ahead and do it. And then I started looking for the starter, and I just started laughing because it was a special motor, and the starter is actually down in the intake. So you have to actually remove the intake manifold and pull the starter off that way. It's a big hassle. It's, it actually takes a lot more time than the $150 would do. So I actually went into the all data and I printed out the service procedure for my boss and said, here you go. And I said, I'm not doing it for $150. And he said, what? That's kind of neat. Marty, you've done these, day in and day out. What are you talking about? And I said, no, here you go. Here's where the starter is at. So he went, wow, I didn't even know that, Marty. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't put it on him as him being the bad guy. I just said, hey, you know what? There's a lot more involved in this than actually what you quoted. But you might want to talk to the customer about this because I'm not doing it for $150. But having good communication skills, understanding too how different procedures can be. So it's always best when you're giving an estimate to how the car physically here there. Sometimes you get something that say, oh, I've done a million of these, and you find in there's a damage to the car where you can't even get access because it's been pushed in. So it's best to get the car there on your premises to give a estimate. So parts replacement is a lot what we do. We diagnose it, we figure out, like this gentleman here has an alternator in his hand. So how we determined that alternator was bad is there's a lot of test procedures. It's not a matter of, oh, it's not, the battery's going dead, just throw an alternator. There's other things that can happen. So a lot of times we do what they call an R&R. So it's remove and replace. That's one of the little acronyms you'll hear. Or sometimes we have what they call R&I, and it's remove and inspect. And we'll take maybe there's an oil leak in between the transmission and the engine, and you want to find out where that oil leak's coming from, because it can be quite messy and it's kind of hard to see exactly if it's coming from the engine or the transmission. So sometimes we have to pull it out and actually look to see if it's the front seal of the transmission or the rear seal of the engine. So you might have to do some removal and inspect on the process of it. Or you got a noise down in the engine, you have to remove the engine and kind of disassemble it. And then there's different types of parts out there. There's what they call original equipment, or OE, another acronym for you to remember. There's aftermarket parts. There's new versus remanufactured. So usually new's of course better, but sometimes new can be a lot more expensive, and sometimes new is not even available. So these some of these parts, what they call remanufactured, is they use the casing and they replace all the movable parts internal. So these are different ones. So of course, we would like to have new all the time, but sometimes remanufacturing the part brings it almost like new. And all they use is the case around it and all the other parts that you. And the other one too is you can sometimes get away with used parts. Now, used parts, the only thing about used parts is you take something off, you go to a junkyard, or they can't call them junkyards unless salvage areas, recycling areas. You might get them a lot cheaper like that, but you don't know what the last person that had that car, what kind of condition it was. You take off an alternator of your car, go to the junkyard and find out that you took an alternator off, get it real cheap, but it doesn't even work either. So there's different things, ways to get parts like that too. So let's talk a little bit about, getting a mentor involved in it too. So in your actually journey as a technician, because a lot of times you go into a shop, you don't know everything, you don't know where anything is. You might get a little tour, but it's going to take you some time to figure out where everything is at, their procedures and how they do things. Some shops work differently than other shops, but there is usually some commonality to what the procedures, but not always the same. So mentors are great. My dad was my mentor, and he actually showed me how to do things. I did have some disagreements with him on how to do things like that, but he did mentor me in a right direction. I wanted just to work on electrical and do engine performance type stuff. And my dad, put his foot down. He said, no, you're going to learn car from bumper to bumper. So I learned about engines, I learned about suspension systems, transmissions, whether it be manual or automatic. Actually, my grandfather's shop was in an actual automatic transmission rebuilding place, and that was the prime thing that they did all the time. We did, I should say. I learned about differentials. I learned about tires, wheels, pretty much anything mechanical on the car, including the electrical. And I came in, I was in a period of time when we were going from mainly mechanical systems as far as spark goes on the car, and we were progressing to fully electronic, no distributor involved, and like that. We'll talk a little bit about distributors going along too. So I kind of grew up with the industry. I was very, I just love change. I love the way that this industry has actually grown. As soon as I heard that computers were going on cars, I went out and bought a computer so I could play with it to figure it out. And I would go in on weekends when the shop was closed, and I would just test, see how this works, see how that worked, and it really helped me out along the way too. So big thing is, you're going to be working in an environment, and one of the things I do have to say is that about teamwork. It's all about getting the work done, and you want to build a team, and when you're together, you don't have to be a team leader. Some people are just normally leaders, some are more followers. That's fine. The key to building is to work together. You want to make sure that you all work together to get things done. Sometimes we had worked at several shops along the way where I had to do all part ordering and all that jazz. Later on, I worked on a few places that they had a whole section. I just write down what I needed, give them the information, and they would actually call part in. So it freed me up to do more work like that. So depending where you're going to have these different types, and kind of going back to the mentor type stuff. Sometimes that's a good leadership role. You show them the ropes, might say, how to do things, and this is a strong leadership skill that a lot of mentors have, which my dad was a great mentor. All right, last but not least, let's talk about evaluation. So at the very beginning, of course, you're going to be scrutinized on what you do and stuff like that too. But you want to follow instructions. You want to learn the procedures. You want to keep it, your area neat and tidy as best you can. If there's an oil spill, of course, it's a safety hazard. You want to get it up as soon as possible. It's not a bad idea to when you're done with a specific task, to ask somebody to check your work. Don't be ashamed of it. You want to say, okay, I want to make sure the car goes out and in a proper running condition. One of the things as a lead technician, was one of my jobs, to test drive cars around the block, or figure out if it was repaired properly. And I encouraged other people to test drive my stuff and look over my work too. Try not to allow a mistake to get out. That gives the customer a very bad taste, feel for your company. And this is something that you want to try to get a system going so where you don't get those mistakes about the work. You swallow that pride, you get it done, learn from your mistakes, try not to make big ones. Try not to even make a mistake as possible, but don't let it reach the customer like that. So there's some formal evaluations. Sometimes are in writing. They can be done by a couple of tiers. If you have a mentor, the mentor will actually sometimes just talk to you directly. Sometimes it'll be the boss and the mentor together, or the service manager, and they give you a kind of a lowdown of how you're doing. And some places they actually go and look at your attitude. Are you working um, as a team? Do you get along really well with the rest of the team? It can actually include points, are you dependable? Your quality of work, how does that look like that? Your maturity, your ability to actually be, to learn and understand procedures. Okay, you got the whole how we do things here. I see that you're going to school, you want to learn more about it. You're learning from the other technicians and like that. You're taking initiative to do things. And like I said, you have a really good relationship with the other team members and stuff like that. Your quality of work is really good. You do some good judgment calls on, what's wrong with the car and stuff like that. You really built up a lot of skills. They look at your attendance, your punctuality, are you on time? Are you taking a lot of time off? Is calling in sick a lot, or you're always there and you're always there early to go to work too. And some of the informal ones, it just could be from like your mentor. Your mentor just goes and says, hey, you're doing a really good job and keep going. And a lot of this comes down to pay, and it can actually influence how, your raises and stuff like that too. So if you really perform, of course, they're going to look at you and say, you're really doing a lot more work. You're getting it down now. Hey, you know what? We're going to pay you more because you're always on time. You try to tackle just about everything, and you're doing a great job. Your quality work is really up high, and the rest of the team really likes you. And I see that you're working very well. So again, that all can come down to how much you actually make like that. So I just wanted to go a little over how to, professionalism on this, and we'll be talking to you again on the next video. Take care now.